back to Broomball Canada's podcast called Between the Pipes. We'll again be your hosts for this, the fourth season. I can't believe it's the
Is it
fourth.
really the fourth season?
Apparently, that's what's written in my script here. I
Oh
don't
my
believe it,
goodness.
but it's what it says. So of course, with me, I've got retired goalie, president of the SBA and the CBF. Very busy man, Chad. How's it going,
Yes.
Chad?
Good. And you, Cam?
Not too bad.
And with me, I've got Cam. Cam is a goalie, an elite goalie for the Lacombe men's team, and he's also an all-star coach for the juvenile Eastern Thunder girls team. And I'm sure he does a lot more other stuff than just those two things, but those are the only two things I want to talk about right now.
Perfect. All right. Every year we like to start off our season with a topic of coaches in honor of National Coaches Week. And that's hosted by the Coaching Association of Canada. So this year we'll be hosting the next two guests, uh, hosting the next guests that have been coaching in the coaching world for some time. Chad, could you explain to us about how you get your certification through the CBF and stuff like that?
Yeah, there are three levels of coaching through Broomball Canada. And it starts with the BF squared, which is your community level, which is the level like rec community type thing. Then we have the Broomball to compete, which is the BTC. That is your competition Broomball coaching certificate that you need to go to nationals. It's also very beneficial to have it for provincials and things like that. And even over in the international tournaments, BTC is recognized there as well. Then we also have the Broomball to Excel. That is the level 3 coaching. We are going to actually be offering the Broomball to Excel coaching clinic this summer at the end of July in Montreal at the Military College. So we are actually looking for coaches to attend. So if you know anyone that wants to attend, it's going to cost a little money, but you know what? It's well worth it. And you learn a lot of stuff. There's a lot of intake, and it's a really good time. We
Glad you
get
brought it
together.
up because I probably will try to see if I can take that because it's the next step for me. So
It is, yeah. And currently the Broomball to Excel, that's our high performance. That's our Olympics or our Canada Games kind of avenue to get into that stream. And we need to do that in order to keep Sport Canada our funding from them. So
good to know. All right, now we got the business aside. Let's do a little introduction of our guests here. So joining us is one of our members of the Helicopters, who are now world champions in the men division. We have Kyle Como, who's of course my teammate on Helicopters and on Macomb. Who else do we have with us, Chad?
we have Laura Chaffee. I hope I said that right. Chaffee. She's a member of the Norsemen from the USA who
Oh shit! Oh, Chad, we lost you.
yeah.
Oh,
Am I back?
you're back now, but we didn't get to
Okay.
hear about how she was the play-by-play commentator.
Okay. Yep. Well, sorry. Laura was also the play-by-play commentator in the gold medal game. What that was live streamed on Broomball Central. So
Yeah, that
well,
was great. It was awesome to have that the voice behind the camera. Sometimes I had to turn down the volume a bit, but it was appreciated nonetheless.
It was well received and well heard. That's what I enjoyed off of it.
Oh
It
yeah.
was you could hear everything, and that's what I liked.
right on.
So I'll talk to Kobo because you're right beside me. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into broomball. I think you might have asked this question on the podcast before. I think you're our first double guest.
Well, I appreciate that too. I was going to bring that up, but I'm happy you asked that question. Yeah, it's nice to be back. I always like talking with Chad and talking with you and meeting the person behind the camera, which is also pretty nice. No, I got into broomball right as soon as I could. The division was called Sprouts at the time. I don't know what it's converted over to now, but
The U7.
U7.
Yeah.
So, and my parents both played broomball at when they were 20, 19 until, well, recently my dad actually retired. So, yeah, no, I've been playing Broomball for a while, so and it's really how I got into Broomball. It's really more on that.
Nepotism, I like it. Laura, what got you into it?
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's really exciting. I've listened to you guys. Really excited to be here. Um, so I'm from Minnesota, Minneapolis, and I don't know if it's like this in Canada. In Minnesota, broomball is a sport played on frozen lakes with actual brooms.
No.
No,
No.
we haven't seen actual brooms. I've seen them in pictures and stuff, but no.
Okay, so as kids, like we had actual brooms and we'd be on a frozen lake. And that was broomball to me. Then fast forward, I moved to California. I moved back to Minnesota. Winter was terrible. I was like, I have to do something to enjoy winter. And so also in Minnesota, we play a modified game. It's 8 versus 8 on this outdoor rink in a city park. There's no offsides. There's this outdoor ball. We played with small nets for a while. It was just a cluster, but I had friends that played. There was a work team that like played after work, and so I started shuffling. I mean, people didn't always have the shoes. It would start snowing. Sometimes there was 3 inches of water. Yeah. So then eventually was introduced to the indoor game. The Minnesota Broomball program started a preparation program for 2018 Worlds with coaching and clinics and things like that. So I really got into it in 2018 probably 2017 in preparation for 2018 Worlds that was in Blaine, Minnesota. Yeah.
Oh, right on.
That's awesome.
Well, that's
Yeah.
exciting.
Minnesota, that was my first Worlds, and it was a lot of fun. I've been going ever since. I went once, and I was hooked to Worlds.
Actually, yeah, we were on the same team. I think every Worlds we've been on the same team.
Yeah, we did 2018 together. We did Kingston together.
That was with Windsor Bulldogs.
Yeah, we played.
Are you guys holding hands right now too?
We are. It's just not on camera.
Yeah. I'm not gonna put the camera down.
And to get back to, it's actually your third time on here, Como, because we did a podcast at Nationals.
That's
Oh,
true.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow, yeah.
that's true. Wow.
That's what happens when you're besties with the host. But anyhow, thank you very much, Laura, for attending. I'm so happy you're here. As for the outdoor stuff, we'd like to try some outdoor. Like, I'm from Saskatchewan. I'm in Balgony, but close to Regina.
Okay.
And it's just our outdoor. It's too cold. We just can't get out there. People don't want to go.
It's too cold.
Yeah, -30. -30. They just don't want to be in -30 in an outdoor rink. Like, and when I say outdoor, I mean like no roof, no nothing. Just in the middle of the city, like you said. There's no dice. Just can't get them to go. But we're gonna keep trying, and see how it goes. But all right,
we've got enough leagues out here in Ontario that I've been, I think, maybe 2 outdoor tournaments, but we play 3 to 4 times a week in the different leagues in arenas. So if the arenas are available, we'll use that ice first. So.
Fair enough. But if you're ever in Minnesota from about mid-December through end of February, we can get you on an outdoor rink any night of the week. We all
My last trip to Minnesota didn't go so well, so I don't know if I'll be going back. For 2018 Worlds, I was supposed to be flying there. I flew from Ottawa to Toronto, and then in Toronto is when I was going through customs. They said my passport was too blurry, so I had to fly back to Ottawa, and then I drove the 20 hours straight to get to the tournament on time. And it was, the ride there wasn't too bad, but the ride back on the Sunday was horrendous.
And to add to that, I remember you messaging me that night, because you drove basically through the night. You got there about, I think it was 4 or 5 in the morning, not to the hotel, because he wouldn't drive to the hotel. He drove to the arena, slept in the car park, And this was before our second game. As we're walking over, we knocked on the window to wake him up for the game. That's how dedicated this guy is to Broomball.
Yeah. I already had the week booked off work, so I might
Yeah.
as well drive. So.
And he played.
Yeah.
And you're the goalie.
I was that.
You're not the goalie.
No, that tournament 2018, I was defense.
Okay.
For the first half of the tournament. Then our goalie got hurt, and then I finished playing goalie. So
Jack of all trades, master of none.
yeah, exactly.
Chaz is roasting us right now. Yeah,
As long as it's Broomball, that's all that matters.
that's true. That's
long
true.
as
That's
it's Broomball,
what
right?
Broomball's all about at this point.
Okay. So Laura, like you attended Worlds, correct? In
Yes.
Genève, France. So with there being 12 teams in your division, like who did you predict that was going to come out on top? Did you have any predictions before you went in, or did you have to watch a few games first?
Well, we knew that it was going to be very competitive. I mean, with 12 teams in that division, and then we were familiar with a good number of them. So we know Broom Shack, Squalls from Minnesota, so they're our friends. Vikings, I don't know. We knew they were going to be challenging. Our coach, John Cody Jr., he's the goalie for the men's masters team, as well as Legion here in the US. He watches a ton of film. He watches Canadian Nationals. He's watched all the worlds. So he's had some good intel on the teams. We played Gladiators before. I think we'd played LaFleur Custom Work before. The USA team we know because they're more East Coast, but also US. So we knew a good number of the teams. So we were expecting it to be quite competitive. Yeah, my team. So I was on the Norsemen, co-rec mixed team. We would have loved to make top 3. Once we saw who was going, we really wanted to make top 4, and we were knocked out of the quarterfinals. But you know what? We went up. We went to the upper bracket. So that felt good, and it felt good to play that level of competition.
Who knocked you out, and do you hate them?
No, they were the Gladiators knocked us out. They were a really tough team. I got stuck. You know, when you're on defense and you're just shelled up tight, I got stuck at the top there, just moving between kind of your configuration. My legs were burning. I was like, do not let them score. Just do not let them score. Let me survive this shift. And I did. They didn't score, but it was intense. They were a great team. Great sports. Just really a fun game.
Hey, so I'm glad you had fun and there's no animosity between you guys.
Yep.
It's good.
Okay, well, Como, you're up next. There was eight men's teams, right? So
Yes.
Predictions going in. You seen who was on the docket before you even played. Did you have any idea who was going to win? And you was it yourself? You predicted yourself to win?
No,
Because you won?
no. Well,
No.
I can't say all no. We had a pretty strong team going into it. A lot of us had played together. We had some guys that we'd never played with as helicopters per se, or even on other teams.
Yep.
So that was the kind of going into it. There was kind of an unpredictable aspect of it. Like, are the lines going to work? Are power play going to work? Is everyone going to gel well? That was another thing too, is if there was drama or anything like that, or if guys didn't like other guys. You don't really see that too much with men's teams, but
it could happen.
that stuff can very much happen. And especially with the coaching, our coach.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, especially with your goalie.
Yeah. Well, that was, we'll exclude him for now because he's right beside me. So, but no, with our coaching was another thing too, is not that we were worried about the coaching per se, but that was also her first time really coaching.
Right.
That was her, she she did it very well, and it was actually ecstatic to have her on our side. And we're lucky to have, well, her or them, actually, they're all female.
Yeah.
All female coaching staff for an elite men's team. So that's what was kind of neat to have.
Awesome.
But no, but the predictions was, I mean, going up against Team Canada, the Patriots, knowing them, playing against them for years now. Yeah,
we figured it was going to be us and them in the final.
Yeah, that's kind of what we assumed, and yeah.
Even after your first game?
Well, after the first game, that was like, oh my god. It wasn't recorded, unfortunately, and I've been telling people that it wasn't a game to watch if you were cheering for helicopters. So
yeah, looked like we were going for silver at that point.
Yeah, that was
you know what?
Going into the gold medal game, I was like, we're probably going to lose this again.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Going into it, and then how we had, well, say that for another question, but that was
as long as you learn something from your mistakes, you guys, right?
So we did.
We stayed out of the box.
Well, we stayed out of the box, but we learned from that game what not to do. And I think for the rest of the tournament, we only let in 1 goal after that game.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Awesome.
So even in the finals, no goals in the finals. Went from letting 4 in one game to none in the finals.
Well, yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, it was after the first game. It was 1 goal in and 14 or 13-4.
Yeah.
We developed.
Must have been some good coaching adjustments, I think.
And yes, I really want to say that it was really a lot of the coaching it kept us in line. So especially Cam.
Awesome.
Yeah, you gotta reel me in sometimes, especially at tournaments that are out of the country. So
yeah.
You might lose me like I lost my wallet. But speaking about playing other countries, Laura, do you find there's a different style that other countries play, or even outside of North America? Like, is Europe different than the US, and is US versus Canada different, or did you find any differences?
So to the untrained eye, I feel like it probably looks similar, but I feel like to a broomball connoisseur like yourselves, I think that it's completely different. Like US rules versus international rules or Canadian rules, whatever you want to call them. It's a completely different game. So it's fun to watch. It was fun for me calling that gold medal game, but also just watching the difference in play and the difference in kind of the flow of the game and strategy. I mean, so in the US, we play floating blue line offsides. There's no checking in any division, and our nets are bigger. Our nets are a foot taller and a foot wider, and so it really, I think those 3 things really changed the game. It feels like a completely different game.
Did you get messed up on the offsides at all, or any of your teammates?
Yes.
Yeah.
Constantly. And we practice. The problem is, so we play broomball, I mean, also several times a week, and we play I'm playing a pickup game tonight. We play pickup, several times a week, and only the people who are going to Worlds want to play red line offsides. Yeah. So it's hard for us to convince our friends, even when we're training for Worlds, to play red line.
Yeah. I prefer the floating blue line too, but we played by the rules here and stuff. But it is fun when we go to Syracuse and stuff for the Can-Am, playing with the big nets and the floating blue line. It's a lot of fun, and it takes us usually a game and a half to really get into it. But once we start playing it, it's a lot more fun. I find more fun to watch too. You get a lot more breakouts rather than just one team setting up in a zone for 10 minutes.
Right, and then what I noticed in your game. Well, my game too, but your game especially, I mean, you'd get something going, and then the ball comes out, and then everyone has to go all the way back outside the zone, outside the red line, where we just have to tag up to the blue line, and then we can go right back in.
Yeah, it makes the game faster. I find more funner to play, funner to watch. I think it's something that it should be looked into to change going forward, but it would be hard for us to change a lot of our strategies. Like all of our breakouts would have to change. It changes the game a lot. So for you guys to come to these international or Canadian tournaments, it's must be a big change for you guys. But Como, how did you feel playing against? I know our rules are the same, obviously. With the rules are Canadian and international rules are almost exactly the same, aside from very small, minute things. But did you notice different styles that the other teams were playing that kind of threw you off? Or
Well, actually, to build on to what Laura was saying, is to the untrained eyes, it just looks like a bunch of people running around shooting the ball. I mean, that's broomball in its own aspect, but playing the European teams, they almost remind me of like old school broomball. Like you're going back to almost where it was VHS and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because that's where
wait,
well,
that's not that old, right, Chad?
oh, sorry.
I'm telling you guys.
But just elaborate on my point there, not to insult anybody.
I'm listening. No, I'm listening.
Is they play a very fast style of broomball, like out our way. Even in US and Canada, it seems like, well, this side of the world, I guess, we do a lot of passing, we do a lot of finesse, we do a lot of stuff like that. Where European style is very run and gun, is very direct shooting pass kind of thing. They don't really waste time with doing extra moves or spinning or doing the finesse stuff that makes it look, oh wow, that's cool.
Like a push and go.
They're a really push and go and just straight to the point kind of broomball, which is I found it was a little bit hard to adapt to going like defending against a player like that, or even just running along with a player that's not you don't expect to do those things, because you're not used to those kind of play styles. So it's always neat to see how each team from other countries play. So it's nice.
Yeah, I mean, onto your finesse side of it all. I mean, we've learned from watching great teams playing with great players that ball control is what wins games, right? You control the ball, you control the play, you control the game, basically, right?
Yeah.
That dump and chase thing, it can either work for you or it can bite you in the ass. So
if you've got the wingers that can get that ball,
yep,
then it can work for you. But if you don't have the speed, it's not a great style for you. And I've coached different styles where you have to use the breakout through the middle, or you've got the fastest wingers out there, and the other team's got slow defense. Dump it every time, and then just go get it, because
yep,
you're gonna beat them. So it's gonna work there. So
you hope, as long as the ball control's there.
yeah, yeah. As long as once the guy
Right?
gets down to it, he can do something with it. So
Yeah, that's right. So, all right. So, Laura, what were your impressions of that final men's gold medal game? You called it. You were doing the play-by-play.
I was doing the play-by-play. It was my fourth game in a row.
Oh my goodness.
You're getting excited now. Yeah, I'm
How do
excited
you
now.
have a voice?
me too.
No, that was the problem. My voice was gone. If you listen to the first one, I sound somewhat normal. And then we get to the end and it's a disaster. I was thinking I would have some I'd have an associate come and join me, and then he was waylaid, and it just kept going. It just kept going, which was fine. But it was a lot. It was my biggest takeaway. I mean, those two teams were so talented, and it's just really exciting to watch just, the best players in the world playing against each other. So it was a great example of just really high level, exciting broomball, which is really, really fun to watch. But at the same time, because both teams are so strong and both defense were both so strong, there was a lot of just back and forth. The ball goes this way, the ball goes back the other way, it goes this way. I mean, both teams weren't even getting that many shots off because the defense on the other team was so strong.
Yeah. So defense ruled the game. Offense was just crap. I got it.
Yeah, no. When you get to high level broomball like that, it is a lot of the ball comes into your zone and it's just keeping everybody to the outside and waiting for your chances to go the other way. And when you get to two teams that are playing that style and are, like she said, that are high quality teams, it's waiting for somebody else to make a mistake. And sometimes both teams are so good nobody makes a mistake. So it
Yeah,
goes 0-0 to a shootout. So
100%.
now,
And
Como, what are
yeah,
your impressions being in the game? That's a whole different thing. Were you
Well,
scared? You looked scared.
well, kind of. No, I
did you
don't
get a
think
penalty?
yeah, well, I could have. I probably was scared, but not that I would remember anyway, because I was in a whole other zone playing that game,
Good.
which is nice. My only kind of real take from that game was defensive was really good. There wasn't a lot of mistakes. Actually Cam and I were just watching the game actually before this podcast, and we had a penalty, but we didn't. Both of us didn't realize that we actually took a penalty because the shots weren't there. Like there wasn't a lot of, we played really good defensively. They played well offensively, but everything was just shut down in the whole aspect of the game. Um, yeah, it was. I wish our first game against them was televised or was recorded in some way, because I keep thinking back to the difference, because they were our first game was against the Team Canada Patriots, and our last game
I
was.
watched it. I watched it.
Okay, well then you'd understand kind of where I'm kind of come from here is
Yep.
we got absolutely dominated the first game. There's no other way to put that. We had a lot of penalties, but they also had a lot of penalties too. I think it was almost even in how many penalties were taken in the first game.
I think so. Yep. I think you're right.
So there's still no really excuse there. And then how we showed up to the last game was just a vastly different team. We were even on a lot of different strong suits, and it came down to the last shot in a shootout was the decision. Like that's like Hollywood right there.
And there again, I'm gonna take it back to that's some great coaching adjustments that were made to learn from your mistakes from your first game, apply those different strategies to the team and move forward. So I commend your coaches for taking that step and doing that. That's awesome.
And it was, again, I'm going to say it again, it was an all-female coaching.
Yep.
Which,
staff. Yep.
Yes, it was a female coaching staff. So, and they all had
Right on.
their own ties to what they wanted to say and how it was delivered, and it mattered. It mattered quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if they realize how much it does matter, because it does.
Our head coach's speech before the gold medal game was my favorite hype up speech before any big game ever, and it got me really into the game. I couldn't tell you what she said, but it was great. Whatever it was, I loved it.
It wasn't.
Too bad you didn't record it.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll be in the behind the scenes DVD.
Yeah. DVD in Walmart and Target near you. In a $5 bin, way down at the bottom.
They don't even have those anymore, do they? Wow, I forgot about those.
That's where it's gonna be.
That was before VCRs, right, Chad?
Yeah. Projectors and reels.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of my take on it. It was.
Right on.
So I like this next question. I know how I feel about the world champions versus national championships, but I'd like to start this question off with Laura, because I don't really know how your nationals work down there. But what do you feel the differences are between a national championship and a world championship? When you guys do your worlds down in the States, do you guys have qualifying tournaments, or is it just anybody can go, or how does that work down there for you guys?
That's a great question. So there is no qualification to go to Worlds. You just put a team together and sign up. People tend to put the best team together that they can. For definitely if you're, taking the time and training and energy to play the best teams in the world. But our nationals, we get maybe 30 to 35 teams from across the US come together for nationals. But a big difference, and I have no idea if it's like this in Canada or not, but you can play 2 divisions in most of our tournaments. So I can play women's and I can play mixed.
We can't do that.
You
One
can't
division,
do
that's
that.
it.
No.
One division, and you have to qualify for it. So there's this maximum amount of teams that go for each division, and each province has their way of qualifying before that. So like Ontario, I know is our provincials from the year before. So last year's provincials determined who's going to nationals this year for our province, and you can only play for that team. You can't play a different team in a different division.
Okay.
Right,
Ours
right,
is,
Chad? Is it the
Yeah,
same? Is it the same for all provinces that you guys have your qualifying tournaments the year before, like our provincials of the year before, and that sends you, or do you guys do it the same year?
For the seniors, yes.
Okay.
Juveniles is different.
Yeah, same year for juveniles.
Correct.
Yes.
So you must be tired then, Laura, playing in 2 different divisions, or are you just
Yeah.
an animal?
it's well, and they're shorter tournaments. They're a weekend. And
Yeah.
so you're
Oh, a weekend.
It's a weekend. So it's 8, 9 games in 3 days. It's terrible.
Ironman.
It's really hard. I don't always do it. Not everyone does it, but that gives us more teams. On the one hand, it gives us more teams. It's also the same people, so you just shuffle the personnel around. And so you're still playing against, your Squall, for example, has some of the best men in Minnesota and a couple of other states, and the best women, and you put them all together, you're going to have an amazing mixed team. So there's there's not qualifications. I mean, there's Broomball in a handful of states. It's not, it's not in all 50 US states. It's, Minnesota, Nebraska, Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania,
Florida.
And that's your competitive broomball. But is there not more recreational broomball being played in a bunch of other places? Like North Carolina has stuff. There's stuff in Boston. There's right, and it's all rec, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, those Boston sends teams
Okay.
will send a team to nationals. We've heard of a whole women's league in Vermont, and we're trying to figure out how to bring them to us or bring us to them so we can play with them. But it's not as widespread as I believe it to be in Canada, unfortunately.
Honestly, it's not that widespread in Canada either. It's Ontario, Quebec, and Saskatchewan. I know that the Maritimes are starting to get something rolling again.
Yeah,
But our mixed division in Canada now at the national level is starting to get larger. I do believe we're going to see 12 teams almost every year at nationals quite soon. And there again, that's where we get most of our participation from. When it comes to elite men's and elite ladies, it's usually Saskatchewan, Ontario, Quebec. Manitoba has some teams every now and then, which is good, which is fantastic. Newfoundland, if it's hosted out east, they might send a men's and a ladies team. But
I'm excited to go out east to see the Broomball there this year. So
yeah, like our nationals are being held just outside of Halifax.
Yeah.
This year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But yeah, it seems I know for us down here with Ontario and Quebec side by side, there's lots of tournaments. Actually, most of the tournaments seem to be in Quebec, but it's very popular. There's a lot of hot spots in Quebec throughout the whole province for broomball. Where in Ontario, there's kind of 2 hot spots. There's Eastern Ontario near Ottawa, and then there's just west of Toronto, and that seems to be. I think there's a little bit in Kingston too, but it seems to be. You find the hot spots of broomball, right?
It's a lot centralized in what Camp's saying.
Okay, that makes sense. And then the other thing too about our nationals that's nice, that the organization that that runs our national tournament is they do have different levels. So they'll have like an A and a B, and then he's done a nice job of trying to get collegiate teams in. So he'll do a collegiate division too. So even if you play that recreational level, you can come and play.
Okay, yeah, we kind of do that for our provincials where we have an elite division. Oh, we have what is going on with
You got yourself.
we have
Put your
an
hand
elite
on your
division, and then the level below would be the intermediate division. But then when it comes to the national level, it's only the elite teams. It's elite, co-ed, women's, and now masters men's at least. So, but the intermediate teams, we don't really have a B level at our senior nationals, which is. I find that's good. I like it that way because it's more incentive to get better, to push to be that elite level. Where if you just wanted to go to nationals every year, you would just play on an intermediate team forever. So
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
I
And
think
Como, yourself, do you think it's a lot different, a Canadian Nationals versus a Worlds tournament?
Massively different. It's our example is the helicopters. I mean, it's hard enough to get people to go to Worlds, let alone it being halfway across the country. I mean, there's a lot of logistical matters when it comes to that. Well, financial matters too. It's expensive. It's it's a long time away for, as you would say, just broomball. I mean, to dedicated people, that broomball is everything, but to a lot of people, it's just a game they play. So the difference is that the logistical matters of it, and our team is built on. I'm just looking in the background here. I think there's 4 different men's teams made into one.
we've got nationals,
Now, 2 national players,
Lacombe,
Phoenix,
Phoenix,
Phantoms,
LA Boys.
and LA 5.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
5, and well, actually, technically, with the coaching staff, Jazz does play either women's.
She's hillbillies.
Now she's hillbillies. So there's 6 different teams combined into one to go and play, rather than here everything's divided. We wouldn't have those 2, or we wouldn't have the 6 teams. It'd just be Lacombe.
Yeah, I find that this tournament was really the best of the best. Like the Patriots team that they sent was some of the best players in Quebec, and
it was
team that we sent
their
was
Team Canada.
yeah,
It was as much French, but it was much the Quebec players that they could muster to go to this tournament.
Where when we have our nationals, it's either like 2 or 3 teams from each province. That was not the best of the best on one team. It's the best of the best divided in half, really.
Mhm.
So
And all the same play style. Like
Yeah.
nationals here for Canada is everyone's playing kind of the same way. I've always noticed that the Quebec play they're a very fast version of that. They're all seem very thin. Not a lot of big guys on Quebec teams. They're very athletic, I would say. So that's the difference there. But I'd say it's really different.
all right,
Yeah, and I mean, on the elite men's side, for example, back to Laura's comment with their nationals, I believe all of the broomball that's played in the States is non-contact, correct?
Correct. That is
Yeah.
correct.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a big change.
So
Yeah.
it's huge. It's huge for those guys because it's non-contact. And then you come to Canada or you go to Worlds. And I mean,
Yeah.
obviously mixed is still non-contact, but the men's and ladies divisions are contact. So
Changes the
it's
whole
a huge adjustment, right? Huge adjustment for them as well. The other piece is too, the beauty about the Worlds tournament, right, is that you typically don't need to qualify. Like you don't.
Yeah.
They're willing to take
We're a
your
team.
money. They're willing to take your money
Yeah.
and they're willing to allow you to play
Yeah.
because that's what they want. They want a big tournament. They want the host to host that tournament to have a great time and be able to make some money hosting the tournament and give an opportunity to the broomball world, a chance to play in a lot of different venues that they normally wouldn't. And that's what makes it great about your helicopter team. You were able to bring all these teams together to make a team to go because you didn't need to qualify. You just need to build a team, pay your money, and go.
Exactly. All right, that's great insight, Chad. I'm gonna pause you right there because I really have to pee. We're gonna pause the recording.
There is a lot. Okay, well, I'm gonna stop talking about it now.
It's just Marilla's gonna hear it. You're her boss,
Nope.
aren't you?
Yeah.
Nope.
I by the
I guess, Laura, how do you compare, this worlds to previous ones? Have you gone to previous ones
Oh.
before? Obviously, you have. So,
Yes. So, and this kind of goes back to your worlds versus nationals question, because I think worlds in North America, in Minnesota or Canada, is a lot different than a worlds somewhere else. But this Majev tournament was my third world. So I did Blaine, Minnesota in 2018, and then we took 2020 off for COVID, and then 2022 in Kingston, and then this recent one.
Same for us.
okay.
Yeah.
And how do you compare them? And you just think that, obviously you've gone to the States, Canada, and now France.
Yeah.
So
Well,
what makes it different about all of them?
oh my
I'm not
gosh.
going to ask you which one is your favorite because I think that's unfair.
I
So-
want to know.
No,
All
it's
different.
unfair. That's an unfair question. But I would just like to want to know, do you feel that there was a difference? And if there was, can you kind of elaborate on it a little?
Sure. I mean, I think that, being in France, in the French Alps, was incredible. What a setting, what a facility, what an amazing broomball adventure.
Such an experience, eh?
Such an experience. Who as an adult who's not a professional athlete, gets to travel to play a sport to somewhere like the French Alps? It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. But I would argue that the competition was not the same as it was in Kingston.
yeah.
Or possibly in 2018, I was still kind of new, but 2018 seemed very competitive.
It was, yeah.
As well. I mean, knowing the people that I know here in Minnesota, that was a competitive tournament. Kingston was a highly competitive, because all of those teams that you described, the ones where you're pointing to all the people, they
All
were
went
all
separately.
there. They were all there with their teams in Kingston. And so unfortunately in France, we didn't have we did not have the competition that we would have had probably, if World had been in Canada.
I totally agree with you on that. Where if like in Kingston, right, you send 6 of the best teams out of Ontario and Quebec. Where this tournament, it might have been better 2 teams having helicopters and Patriots, but it was all condensed onto one team. Where in Kingston you had 6 really great teams rather than just having 2 really strong teams. But it was beautiful. France was amazing.
It's ecstatic.
Oh my God, this is my first time in Europe, and I'm obsessed. I want to go back tomorrow. I didn't want to leave. It was I only had to leave because I ran out of money and I lost my wallet, so I had to go home. So
Did you lose your wallet or did you get pickpocketed?
I didn't. All right, so I went through Paris fine. But I lost my wallet the last night, like the Saturday night after our win. I have I can see my credit card history. I used it at the bar at 2 a.m. and then sometime between the 2 a.m. and our leaving for the flight at 5 a.m. My wallet disappeared. So yeah, that leaving for the flight at 5 a.m. was not.
I'm going to leave that one alone, Cam, because you opened yourself up on that one. I could just tie off on what I'm going to.
I mean, it was a bit poor planning on our end to book a 5 a.m. flight after the banquet. Whether
our flight was 10 a.m., but it was a 3-hour drive.
Yeah,
to
it's a
Lyon.
3-hour. Yeah, and it was just, winning or obviously you're not planning this whole trip months in advance to win. That's their goal, but win or loss, you're gonna get. You're gonna have.
You're there. You're there for a good time.
I think at one point Nixon and I tried to buy the big cowbell.
Travis Nixon, yeah,
Travis Nixon.
They had the tournament. There was a big tournament cowbell. I don't know if you saw it. Did you guys see that?
We saw it. We wondered what happened to it. We thought that you won it, actually.
Well,
That's what we thought too.
yeah.
We
We
were
thought
like, oh,
you
we
won
get
it
to
too.
go there. We're
We
like, oh,
thought
no,
you won it. I thought you were
They
going to have
no.
it right now and you were going to show it to me.
I would love
wish.
to, because we were heavy bidding into it, and bidding, I mean, we were just Nixon and I were just upping the ante.
Yeah.
We're like $300
Okay.
each. We were up to about $1,000 Canadian to buy the bell, and they said no, which would be like 600 and something euros or something like that.
Pennies.
Well, I wanted the bell, but this was
Yeah.
also at 1 a.m.
Right.
So yeah.
No. But back to the world competition, you guys, and you're right. Like whether it's in North America or it's in Europe or Japan, it was in Japan, or maybe hopefully some year it may be in Australia.
I love that. Yeah.
Right?
I would love, yes.
I like.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you guys' comments more about the competition because obviously whether it's in, when it's in North America, there are the majority of broomball that's played in the world is in North America, right? So you have more teams, the tournament's a little larger, you have different people to play against. However, going over to Europe and experiencing what everyone experienced was amazing.
Oh yeah.
Do you feel, there's another question that I'm throwing in here, do you guys feel, and this is to everyone because we were all there, do you feel that there was any more Europe representation because it was in France versus North America?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
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 And that was great. Honestly, I would have it in Europe every year, every Worlds. It was you get to see more of the world because Canada and US are always going to put in teams, but you're going to get more local teams. You're going to get Germany putting in a team and France and stuff and like that, and it's more of an experience for us. I've been to the last two that were in North America, and they were great. But this was a whole nother level. It was one of the best times of my life. It was crazy.
To add on to that is, like I said about helicopters, just this team alone is 6 different teams combined in North America alone. Now, you go to the European teams, they don't have that amount of people to diverge from, to come over to Kingston, to come over to, well, even Minnesota, to North America. They don't have a lot of broomball in Europe. They do play good broomball, and they have the teams to do it, but they don't have a lot.
Yeah, you're gonna get less teams. You're gonna get smaller teams.
Less smaller teams. So why not make it more fair? And we diverged 6 teams of players together that were willing to go where they literally just play with their team that they have. I find it's easier for us to go over there. Yes, it costs money, but it's easier for us to go over there than it is for all of them to come over here.
Because there's more of us.
Because there's more of us. If 5 people on the Germany team say no, well, now they're down to 10 people.
What? Okay. I totally understand that from your guys' perspective. However, from an organizing committee or an organizer's perspective, there were less teams this year at the World Tournament than there ever are in a North American tournament.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to be smaller. And that
the experience for the North American players to go to Europe is fantastic. I am not denying that whatsoever. However, from an organizing perspective, more teams the better.
Yes, and I get that, and that's why I like that we don't have it in the same spot every year. It changes countries, it moves around because it'd be we went to France this year, but if we had to go to France every year, maybe we wouldn't send the best of the best.
Right.
It changes, right? So it's nice to have Kingston 1 year and get 100 teams, and then France 2 years later and have less amount of teams, but a different experience for everyone, an experience we can talk about.
And there again, like your sightseeing. What kind of sightseeing did you guys do? Like, Laura,
you tell us first.
Laura, you tell us first.
We have the same sightseeing stories, so I want to hear Laura's.
Well, seeing from everyone on Facebook, I think everyone went up the mountain in the gondola at various times.
Yep.
That was fantastic.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
It was amazing. We got there a few days early and explored Geneva. I'd never been to Geneva before.
Nice.
Then
beautiful city.
Beautiful. Then yeah, then did Chamonix a couple times. Just enjoyed the cute little mountain towns.
Oh, they were so quaint, eh? Like little shops and the restaurants were great. The best pizza I've ever had was
Oh, God.
in Saint Gervais.
Yeah.
I forget. I
I-
wish I could give him a shout out.
I would, yeah. He just, it was his own little pizza shop that he ran. It was almost a family business, and he just so nice and the best.
We came in and ordered like 12 pizzas, and he had them all made in less than an hour by himself.
Freshly made. It wasn't like out of the freezer, put in the oven. It was hand done, everything like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
Fantastic. So you went a couple days early, you said, Laura. Did you stay a little later too, or did you take off right away after?
I did not take the 5 a.m. flight the next morning.
You're a
That seems
smart
like
girl.
a terrible idea. So we went to Annecy then and spent a couple days in Annecy. Which they
Where
say
is that?
so,
Where is
I
that?
don't know what that is.
so Geneva's here, Mougève is here, and Annecy's here.
Okay, so
So
like
it's
France.
like a triangle kind of.
Okay.
But they say that Annecy is the Venice of France. There's canals. It's very kind of medieval, very touristy, but it looks like, medieval France with the little streets and the architecture and the castles and the chalets. So we did that. And I went paragliding, which I was not going to do. And then I did it. And I'm still here.
wow.
Were you freaking out the whole time?
Yes.
Would you do it again?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Okay, it's not worth it. I'm not going to do it. I'm scared of heights. I almost didn't go to France because I was scared to fly because I hate flying.
I
was like, I think the last one to buy my ticket. It was.
Come on, Cam. It's the
that was,
safest way to travel.
I think I watched Castaway too young. I was scared to fly over an ocean and get stuck on an island somewhere. So.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I drove to Junior Nationals last year. I didn't want to fly, so I drove all the way to Manitoba.
It's because your passport was terrible.
You could drive to Minnesota.
Oh, sorry, Junior National.
I was gonna fly to Minnesota. They didn't like me there.
Yeah.
So then, obviously, Cam and Como, you guys were there a little earlier. Obviously, you didn't stay later because you had to get there. Like how much earlier did you guys go?
4 or 5 days earlier.
Yeah, about 4 days. Yeah.
And you guys flew into where?
We flew into Paris.
Yeah, Paris.
And then you flew out of Paris too?
No, we flew out of Lyon. We flew into Paris. Spent the first 2 days in Paris. Got to see all the sights there: the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, the Mona Lisa, and stuff like that.
We had a drink underneath the Eiffel Tower, which was, I mean, seeing it online or seeing pictures of the Eiffel Tower, you're like, nah, it's a nice big tower. It's going there
and seeing the size of it,
the scale of it, and the reason why it was built was just it's amazing. Yeah. It's actually
even when
what is the reason why it was built?
Yeah, even when you're driving by, like if you're a couple blocks away and you see it, it's like, oh yeah, it's cool. When you actually get up to it and see how massive it is, like right underneath it, that was.
So, Como, what was the reason why it was built?
I can't remember the years. No, but it was in 1871 or something like that. A famous architect. You can fact check it, but it was built as a celebration of 100th year or something like that. It was built on a celebrational thing. It wasn't built as in a functionality to sightsee and stuff like that.
I believe you.
When it was driving by it or just seeing it, it's actually amazing. But then we went to the Louvre and see a whole bunch of stuff. But I do have a picture which is kind of funny and actually involves Cam and I. It was one of the most dangerous things we've done.
Go figure.
And like some context, explain what this is before I can't really explain.
So I think it was in Chamonix. There was a kind of a roller coaster that was non-powered. Essentially, would bring you to the top of the mountain, and then you would just come down on the roller coaster through the mountains. It was beautiful views.
If you can see that.
Yep.
But it was designed for one person or 1.5.
Yeah.
And between the two of us, it's about 500 pounds there. So
it's designed for a parent and a kid. But I'm trying to get it on there.
It was there.
There, yeah.
Yep.
It's we decided to do it together as a
Not once, but twice.
not once but twice. Because we all bought individual tickets, and the ticket was for the cart,
Yeah.
not for.
So it was
person.
cheaper to go, like if we each bought a ticket, then we could go twice together.
We thought only sensible for the two biggest guys in that group to go together.
But that was cool.
Yeah.
So
The
much
views
sense.
were great. It was.
Oh, amazing. Yep.
Yeah.
The memories you got.
Oh
It-
yeah.
well, yeah.
I've got some. We took there's pictures when you're going down. They take the picture. And I've got some hand painted drawings from the streets of Paris and stuff like that. It was just an incredible.
So Laura and Laura, you were there with your whole team. Did they all stay, or was it just a few of you? It was basically the whole team.
It was basically, give or take some individuals, the 4 Minnesota teams. So add people in and subtract people out, but we had 4. We had the men's masters team.
Yeah.
We had my mixed team. We had the women's team, and then we had Squall, the other mixed team. So we had
And you guys were all together doing
No.
like kind of
some bits and pieces of the
Okay.
group were all
Everybody,
together at
okay.
different times in different places, but it was all kind of, it's
That's
fun. I
awesome.
mean,
Yeah.
you go on a trip with all your best Broomball buddies.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like when we stayed in one Airbnb in Paris, and then we got to Mont Blanc area, and we stayed in another Airbnb there, and then we switched to another Airbnb with our team and stuff, and it was cool. Even like when we got there early, we went with other teams. Like we went with a few helicopter guys, but then we also went with a few of the semi-pro mixed team. We got to hang out with them. And USA, yeah.
Yeah.
Just to sightsee with them, and that was really cool. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, no.
so-
I had a good time too. I got in there a few days early in Paris as well, and then we went to the tournament. I ran into Cam and those guys. They said hi, and basically that was it. They left. They didn't.
Yeah,
want to
we
leave.
were we were talking about doing a podcast.
I wasn't good enough to
down
hang
there,
out with them.
but,
That's fine. That's fine.
It's just so busy, Chad. When
Yeah,
you're
so busy, so busy having fun.
Sorry, Chad.
So busy having fun, riding in a cart together down a hill. You know, like just no time to talk. Understood.
Oh.
How about the banquet, Laura? How great was that banquet?
Oh
though?
my goodness.
That was
Okay.
a great banquet.
It was right.
That was a great banquet. And the food. The food was
no.
really good.
Oh.
I'm a sucker for mashed potatoes, and
Yes.
when the lady, she gave me one scoop, and I just stood
3
there.
more, please.
I did. I stood
Saw
there
in
and
your
I
eyes.
said, "Can I won't take any vegetables. I won't take that away from anyone else. But can I get another scoop of mashed potatoes?"
Mhm.
And thank God she did, because I was.
It was nice too. The All-Star Awards. It's usually jerseys, which are great if you got spots to hang them up. But this year they did engraved knives, which were really cool. I was glad it got through customs and stuff. So it was nice to see something.
Oh, did
different.
you get one?
Sorry.
Did you get one?
Yes. Yeah. 2 worlds in a
Oh.
row, first line All-Star.
Oh, congratulations, Cam.
Thank you. Thank you.
And well deserved too. Like I couldn't even. I was hoping that you were gonna get something.
Hey, congrats.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I'm
That's a huge honor. Like it really is in my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one of them too. I don't have
Happy
2. I just have
for,
one.
Yeah, it was cool to get two in a row. So it was yeah, it was cool. For
Right
sure.
on. Okay, so what was your best memory? Your best memory from this world?
From this world.
From this world.
Okay.
I don't want to know about Kingston. I want to know what this.
You
Yeah.
want to know this world.
You noticed
I
that too.
Yeah.
I understand who I'm talking to right now, but for me, it was watching the 3 American teams win
Yeah.
gold medals. It was
100%.
they worked so hard. So Minnesota Grey Ducks, the Minnesota Masters, and Squall. I mean, the Broomball community is pretty small here in Minnesota, and we know each other. I saw how hard they worked to get there, and then to watch all 3 teams win gold in their divisions was just really exciting.
That,
Well,
really,
absolutely.
really exciting.
that Minnesota Masters men's team dominated. Like
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
were insane. They could have played men's, but I didn't realize I'm friends with a few of them. Like I know I've played against them in Syracuse and stuff like that. Like I know Matt pretty well. I didn't even realize they were of Masters age. They run like they're 20 still. Like
Mhm.
they played a game and the other team they were playing against you could see was hurting. They were getting off the ice slow, and then the Minnesota team was just jogging off the ice like they were ready to go for the next game. I was like, holy.
That's what my dad said. My dad's about 61 years old, and he was playing Masters in Minnesota. I think that was the last time he played in 2018. And he goes, I've never seen a men's team run after the game is done.
Yeah.
So, and especially it being the finals.
And I mean, you got to call all those games too. You did the play-by-play for all of those games, Laura?
Yes. Hmm.
So, and then you got to watch that too. Like that is
Yep.
exciting. That's pretty fantastic.
It was really fun. It was just really fun to see all their hard work pay off. It's fun, I mean, the US, it's playing Canadian teams. You're competing against the
Yep.
best in the world. So
Yep.
it's a high level of competition, and it's just a huge accomplishment to win gold. It was really exciting.
That's
Now you guys
awesome.
just got to send a men's team next year.
Right. So
Or 2 years.
yeah, that would be, yeah.
we go to Yukon Whitehorse.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would be a trip.
Yeah.
There's mountains there. Someone should be showing mountains there. So
They got things.
Como, your experience other than winning is there got to be something better than winning?
I
isn't
mean,
it?
that's got to be up there. But I'm going to share another one. But that's winning a world tournament
in a shootout.
In a shootout. I mean,
That's stressful.
but not even on a shootout, but on the last shot, it would have been to sudden death if Brody Villeneuve would have missed, which obviously he didn't. It would have been, they would have went and then 1v1 basically kind of back and forth. And instead of a 3-on-3, best of the three would go. So it was, like I said, Hollywood style kind of way to win. That'll always be my favorite memory of that tournament. But there's a lot of stuff I want to say, but I can't really say, especially on podcasts.
Yeah.
No, I think having everyone in the Airbnb and we were just watching Broomball and just
listening to Laura's commentary.
Listening to Laura's commentary,
Yeah.
was just amazing. And just with a bunch of people, like we know, Cam and I know, well, everyone that was on this team, but a lot of the guys didn't know everyone, and everyone, we were just kind of a bunch of random people put together in a little bit of a sense, and we all just gelled really well together, and it was a lot of fun. And that's the core memory that I really kind of go back to when I think about Worlds. It was fun. It wasn't a high stress kind of thing.
Is that going to rank up there, right there, with one of your best all-time memories of Broomball? Because that is the next question. You know that. It's your third time on this podcast.
I'm trying to remember what I said last time. Winning Worlds, I think, is going to be in the top 3 for on and on. As of right now, I mean, hopefully if Whitehorse goes well,
defend
our title, maybe that would be. But as of right now, the trophy right now is getting our names engraved on it, so it's pretty neat. And going all the way up, I think 1991 is the first time the men's world championship was, the plaque was on there. So it's going to be on there for quite a long time, hopefully. Awesome. Unless someone takes it off.
Laura, what about yourself? Your best all-time Broomball memory ever?
I know this was tough because it's all those little things, right? Like, yep. It's just it's traveling with friends, and it's the silly things that happen in the Airbnb, or randomly doing your third escape room because that seems like a good idea, or something like that. But officially, so again, Kingston. So I was on a mixed team in Kingston. We were officially Hagen's Heroes, but really Hagen's Hippos. We we wanted that team, we wanted to go up to the upper bracket, and we didn't. We were in the Challenge Cup because the pool play didn't really go our way. But then we swept it. Like, we swept the Challenge Cup and ended up with gold medals and a cup. And so I came home, and my husband and children, my kids were 5 and 7 at the time, picked me up at the airport, and they're like, well, how did the tournament go? And I pull out my gold medal, and I'm like, I won the gold medal. And they're just like, like that moment, being able to show your kids that you can, go and play a sport, and a gold medal's a gold medal.
I agree.
That support from my family and the excitement was really a great moment.
Awesome. Well, that's fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much. That kind of concludes our podcast. Thank you very much for your time tonight. Congratulations once again to Cam and Kyle for winning Worlds and being on a team. Yep.
And thank you, Chad, for all that you do for Broomball. I want to always say that when I meet you, because you do so much. In the acting.
Yeah. Someone's got to volunteer and take everybody's yelling. It's fine. I got thick skin, big shoulders.
I haven't yelled at you that much. I don't think I've ever yelled at you, actually.
I think you've yelled at me more than
No.
Yes, I know.
And thank you, Laura, for doing all the commentary for the game. It makes the video that much more fun to watch. But I can't find it on Broomball Central anymore. I don't know what happened there. Did it get deleted? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. I can find out. They archive everything. Do you need it? Do you need it so you can watch? Because the other greatest moment was when Brody won the shootout and then splatted himself on the glass.
Yeah.
That was probably my second.
And if you look, I don't think there was anyone on the other side of the glass.
No, because it's the windows to the swimming pool.
all the moms and the little kids that they were watching, they all know that Brody won.
What sport is this?
What sport is this? Sometimes he just splats himself. That was great.
But,
all right. Well, thanks again.
Congratulations.
Thanks for watching.
No.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for taking the time and calling
in. Thank you for being a little less high pitched for this interview. I appreciate that.
She has a voice she didn't do 3 games.
I didn't hear it. I didn't recognize the voice when she came on.
No,
Well, just wait till the next one. I will lend my Muppet voice to something else.
We'll see you in Northern Canada. So
Northern Canada or Syracuse, New York.
We will be in Syracuse. Are you going to Syracuse? Oh, yeah.
Chad.
You there.
Actors are going to be in Syracuse.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
See you
you,
guys.
Chad.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.